It's time for Taking Care of Business on Midlands 103. With thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Taking Care of Business. I'm Ronan Berry, and coming up over the next hour, well, from a multi-million expansion to ambitious hiring plans, Alpha Drives in Portlaoise is powering ahead. I'll be talking to MD John Dwan about automation, engineering, careers and why advanced manufacturing is thriving in the Midlands. And if you think you know the name of that business, they do have a very, very well-known employee amongst their ranks. Find out just who that is very, very shortly. And also, when it comes to the Midlands, are we ready to think bigger creatively? I'll be talking to Louise McSharry of Make and Share, based in County Laois, about scaling a creative business and about a bold plan they have to unite designers, makers and studios through a potential new Midlands Creative Cluster. So if you are in that creative space in any capacity, stay tuned, because in about 10 minutes we'll meet Louise, find out about the company, but also find out about their ambitions and thoughts and objectives of a potential creative cluster for the Midlands. And we have seen clusters, so many successful clusters emanating in the Midlands over the past couple of years. There's a framework there, there's a roadmap that can be followed. So stay tuned if you are in that sector in any way. And of course, National Enterprise Week 2026 was launched today. It'll take place from the 2nd to the 7th of March. And there are a range of events and seminars and workshops coming up from the 3 enterprise offices in Westmeath, Laois and Offaly. So later on the show, I'll just give a quick update as to what's coming, because, as to say, first up and best dressed and all that, those workshops and seminars, they book up quickly. They're free to attend, so you've got to you get your name in that hat very, very quickly. I'll guide you to how you can do all that a little bit later on the show. But to be part of this evening show, of course, if you want to get in touch, text and WhatsApp is the quickest and simplest way. 083 3010 103 is the number, or you can drop me an email, business@midlands103.com. But today is the 17th of February. It is also Pancake Tuesday. I don't know about your house, but our house got them out of the way very early this morning. The benefit of having kids who can make the batter the night before, so the frying pan was flat out from about 7:15 this morning and done and dusted out of the way. So are you somebody who has pancakes just once a year? Do you avoid them entirely? Or is it a regular in your house? And when it comes to food that we consume regularly, how often do we ask the question about provenance? Where is it actually coming from? So take pancakes as an example. If you go and make them from scratch and you're using a flour, is that Irish flour? The assumption is probably yes, but if I take you to a report that was in the Irish Farmers Journal back in 2024, it looked at how much flour we actually import into the country. In 2018, we imported over 200,000 tonnes of flour. That was around 80 million euros worth of product back then. In 2023, 69% of the flour imported into this country was from the UK. The reason for the increase in number of imports were commercial flour milling capacity collapsing with the closure of some major mills, the overall tillage area declining across the country, and a common belief maybe that our climate is not suitable for milling wheat. So when it comes to your pancakes and the flour that you're using, how close to home is that flour actually coming from? Well, there is one mill in the country that is certified to be fully organic and gluten-free. It's in County Laois, and it's owned and managed by Kevin Scully of the Merry Mill. Good evening, Kevin.
Good evening, Ronan, and thanks for having me on.
Kevin, I suppose it's probably, for somebody like yourself who's producing food and producing organic food, you're probably sick in the teeth, sick to whatever of beating that drum and that message about looking at where our food is coming from. But do you think would people be generally surprised by how much flour is imported into Ireland?
Oh, I'd say completely. Like, flour milling died out. I think in, say, 1926, there was a mill within 10 mile of every farm in the country. And now, milling flour, I'd say there's not 5 in the whole country milling flour at this stage. And they're all micro mills. There's no one doing any large scale. Like, there's a few small mills like mine that have started up in the last, say, 10 years. But milling has vanished from our country. Like, our food security is gone, really. Like, in the morning, if there was a major transport issue or there's some blockages at our port, we'd have no bread in our shelves, I'd say, within 2 days. We'd be just completely gone of flour. So, yeah, it's just crazy when you look at it.
I remember seeing kind of inklings of that back, before Brexit was officially in, but in all the years in advance of that, looking at supply chains. I know a lot of companies around were looking at maybe coming together and maybe, bulk buying from overseas. And it started to become apparent how much flour, and again, how dependent, like you said, we are on ports and transportation into the country. And we saw last year when the port in Wales got damaged, and it had a huge impact on supply chains as well. And that's it. So, like, when it comes to our pancakes, the chances are we're not eating flour that's of Irish origin as well. But tell us about your own business. You are a certified 100% gluten and organic mill. You're still the only one in the country, are you?
Well, yeah, we're the only one in the country certified organic and gluten-free. And we do it all here on our farm. We grow it, harvest it, and mill it. As I did tell the people in government, like and mills like us should be really valued as part of the food security plan of the country. If something was to go wrong, like I'd have enough in store probably to feed 10,000 people for a couple of months. Like, that's not a lot of people, but you had more of us in the country, we'd have more food security. But we do real attention to detail here. We won the European SME Organic Producer of the Year in 2023, and that's for single source, single origin, certified organic and certified gluten-free. So, like, good health, as we know, has become really important, and people are some more aware of it. So we cold mill all our flour here, so all the live enzymes are still intact. And so, like, people, you'll see in Pancake Tuesday, you'll see all these fancy pancakes and taste amazing, but how do you feel 10, 15, 20 minutes after you ate that food? It becomes really important. So that's where we went after that specialist in the market, where our pancakes, they're fuel for your body. This is really clean food. Like, there is no preservatives, there is no additives. It's just pure organic gluten-free oats, and we cold mill. Our mill dates back from the 1800s, the blueprint, and there's a 3-phase motor on it. There's 2 French burstones, one on top of the other, running really slow, producing super quality flour. Like, I'd say we're up with the top quality flour in the world for what we do with attention to detail. So, but that's been good for us, Ronan, because we've got nice market share of that, because when people get onto our flour, they stay on it. Like, we've great customer retention once people start using our product.
I know
so we've been...
That report from the Irish Farmers Journal mentioned things like the decline of the large scale mills, like you mentioned. It also said the decline of actual tillage area in the country too, but also that maybe there's a perception that Ireland's a difficult place to actually grow the wheat, grow the oats that you need. And I know I've spoken to you on air before about the challenges with, be it a drought one year to increased rain, and undoubtedly it's probably a factor this year. But overall, is Ireland still a good place to actually grow this and
It's a great place to grow. The problem is cost of production and the whole cheap food model. Everyone's looking for cheap. Quality went out the window. Convenience and cheap became, and that's where all the big mills, like most of our stuff is either milled in the UK or further away. Like, the beef wheat grown in Ireland is probably shipped to the UK, milled there, and maybe brought back to Ireland. Because it's just crazy, and that's all on cost of production. Everyone's accountants run every business today, and they sit down and they look at the maths and they say, right, it's going to be X amount cent cheaper to actually mill that in a higher grade mill in the UK, where it'll do 100 ton an hour sort of a mill, and that's where production went. It's all about cost. But we give up a huge amount for that cost. Like, we give up quality, because the older mills, like the style I have, they were all the mills back in the day where they ran at a slower pace. All the new ones are hammer mills. They run at a huge speed. They heat the flour to kill a lot of the nutrients, but they produce huge bulk. And that's where milling went to.
Yeah, we often speak about, or you heard people talk about lost industries in the country. The sugar always comes up on it. We think of something like whiskey, though, where 20, 30 years ago there was only 3 or 4 distilleries. Now it's well up in the 30s, maybe 40s across the country. You said more needs to be done, even from a food security perspective. And that's a term that's come into people's everyday language a lot more in the past couple of years. When it comes to incentives then, is enough being done, or for a business like yours, is it just applying for kind of standard grants that are there? There's nothing that specific towards creating a business like yours that is organic, can be gluten-free, but also can be part of that food security for the nation?
Yeah, look, at the local enterprise, in fairness to them, there is help there. Like, it is a good country to start a business. To keep it going then is another challenge. Like, as a business owner, there's so many pains in business and growing pains, and while there's a lot of funding there's a lot of work in accessing this funding. It's very complicated drawing down funds. Like a lot of the time I would go search in Europe for a second-hand machine rather than going to get funding for a new machine, because there's just too much paperwork for me to access this money, where it's there. As you've seen, I think last year the Department of Agriculture gave back 100 million to Europe that wasn't drawn down. And it's crazy, but you can see why when you're in business, because it's too hard to access it for the producer or even the farmer. Like it's crazy. It's hard to believe 100 million went back that wasn't used. When you see the struggle that's in agriculture and the amount of farmers could do with a small bit of support, and even supporting more organic growers to grow more crops for milling, and we should be really looking at that. It should be a strategy. Like I'm just back from Germany there at Biofac. That's the biggest organic trade show in the world, and we're lagging so behind on the organic sector across Europe. Look at Germany, they're gone to 7 or 8%. Austria up near 30%. France are gone up 9%. Like we're struggling at the 5%, and look at our landmass. So it's just, we're way behind in Europe in this whole sector, where food is medicine in the whole organic production system. This is the healthiest food in the world. We need to produce most. Like we have loads of customers in country for, like we are maxed out in production at the moment. So I'm looking at scaling up again to meet demands in front of us. So we're actually quite a well-off country, and we could produce a lot more quality food, and we have the customer there for it.
Exactly. Well, you mentioned there that 100 million euros that might have been given back. There would be scandal if that hit the news. If somebody were to investigate and look at the actual cost of shipping grain over to the UK to get it milled and brought back in, it would be another national scandal. Maybe that's where we need to go. But to begin, if people would just taste a pancake maybe made with homegrown flour in County Laois and milled, you reckon that'd be what would convince them anyway?
Well, they'll feel the difference. As I say, I always tell people, like, there's nothing that will taste as good as feeling good. So when you eat something and then 15, 20 minutes later, you're feeling amazing. As I just say, mine comes with a health warning. You'll have a burst of energy after you eat it. So look, be careful.
Well, I'd well believe anybody that follows your socials must know you're getting that energy from somewhere. Kevin, it's just always a great story. Thank you for coming on this evening. And you're after making me hungry now as well. But the merrymill.ie is Kevin's business's website. Check it out and definitely follow his socials. Thanks a million, Kevin.
Thanks, Ronan. Yeah, and it's www.themerrymill.ie. You'll find us, and the Merry Mill Porridge is on Instagram. So yeah, thanks again, Ronan.
Not at all. An absolute pleasure, Kevin, and all the very best. Well, and there you go. Like, nice to get that example from the ground. So that pancake that you had this morning, or had at lunchtime, or had this evening, chances are highly likely it was imported flour. It may have been Irish grain that was exported to be re-imported after being milled. And to think that there's a business here in the Midlands that's making that flour, and guaranteed energy boost, as Kevin says there. Anyway, again, www.themerrymill.ie. Now, time for a quick break, but after that, if you are involved in a creative business in any capacity across the Midlands, stay tuned, because there's an exciting new movement brewing, and it could be something that will really interest you.
Taking care of business with thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Still to come on this week's episode, I'll be giving you a quick heads up as to what's taken place across the three counties for National Enterprise Week in early March, and I'll be speaking to the MD of Alpha Drives in Portlaoise. They're undergoing a multi-million euro expansion at present, and we'll just learn more about the business, what their ambitious plans are, and of course about that famous employee they have, that a name that you probably all know. You mightn't have put two and two together just yet, but find out a little bit later. Another fantastic local success story. But before that, I mentioned that if you are in a creative business in any capacity, you want to listen in now, because there's an exciting new movement that is rumbling, coming from County Laois as well, and it might just be the next great cluster that's coming from the Midlands. But the people behind it own the company and work with the company Make and Share, based in Abbey Leaks in County Laois. It was set up in 2022 by Pádraig Hackett, but I'm joined now by Louise McSharry, Creative and Brand Strategy Lead at Make and Share. Good evening, Louise, and welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Good evening, Ronan, and thanks for having me.
Make and Share, it doesn't tell us anything about the business, I think. Tell us, what's the name, what does it mean, what do you do?
It doesn't, and it tends to be our biggest challenge as well, to succinctly describe what we do. We are a creative production company, and to explain what that is, we basically make for events. So we kind of say for in-person events, we're very happy to be one of the things that can't be taken away by AI. We are builders, so we would build things. For example, Porrick was one of the first people to light up the Samuel Beckett Bridge in Dublin with projection mapping on it. We built the Guinness 00 bar, if anybody who's all together now, or some of the other festivals. So literally a 2-story pub built in the middle of a field that our guys did in a couple of days. So we're a collection of designers, creators, carpenters, painters, everything that actually what it takes to bring something to life.
That's what I was going to ask you next. You say we built the Guinness 00 bar. You actually mean built, so the design, the production and the building. Yeah. So interesting skill set within the business then.
Yeah, very, very mixed. So some of it comes from the purely creative and the ideation side, and then a lot of it, like I said, is the actual hands-on. We have a workshop there in Ballinakil where we work, and like I said, that's a mix of carpenters, builders, painters, people that used to work on things like television sets. A lot of work in festivals. There's a lot of build there, a lot of that temporary build, or like a pop-up display in a shop or something for an event, staging for an event. So that kind of work.
It's quite a great mix to have, because you're not just doing the design piece then and passing it to somebody else that has to deliver that vision or that end goal. You can control it in-house. Are you unique around the Midlands? Is it quite it's a very niche service, obviously.
We are a very niche service. We sometimes kind of joke and say we're a niche of a niche. So obviously anybody could be a builder. We might be the person that comes in when the builder has reached the end of what they would do, like normal shop fitting or normal event build. We might be the extra creative piece. So that's, for example, recently we did a Schweppes bottle and it had to have actual bubbles flowing in it and it lit up. So somebody did a certain amount of it and then we jumped in and did the next bit. But yeah, as far as we know where we are, we're sort of a bit of a unicorn in the business. So we're looking to reach out and see who else is out there.
Absolutely, and I think you're kind of hinting on that already as to the why too. But there's been steady growth with the company. I know Porrick has founded it, but like from the early days, and I think he was effectively challenged to go and show us what you can do, and from that emanated a Grow Remote conference in Portlaoise. But it's been steady growth. Is it nearly 30 people working for you now?
We actually went from 2 to 12 in 3 years.
12, sorry, yeah.
But honestly, that's sort of, like we said, the expansion we're seeing and the amount of inquiries and that we're getting. Like I said, we're well placed to work in Dublin or to work in festivals locally. Again, a great point of being in the Midlands, you're sort of accessible to everywhere. So we're a good fit for building and installing and manufacturing things around that. So yeah, hopefully more growth to come.
Yeah. And if anyone just checks out the website Make and Share there, you just see the portfolio and a lot of standout brands and projects that you've probably seen in the past. And really you're the people that when you're looking at a big event and you kind of go, wow, look at that. Who thought of building that or designing that? That could be coming from County Laois, which is really intriguing. But there's a point where you can deliver X amount and there's often additional services needed to run any event as well. So you're here tonight mainly to put out a call out to other creative businesses across the Midlands about maybe developing a Midlands Creative Cluster. Tell us more.
Exactly.
Where did the idea come from?
A little bit of that would have even come from, you mentioned it there, the Grow Remote Summit, which was, people coming together and sharing ideas, and that's sort of what get things done. I suppose we would think that if you put creatives together, that's where you get innovation. So even within our own company, like I said, we're a very unusual mix of builders and makers and designers. So what we'd like to do is sort of start that creative cluster in the Midlands, is to find people that are in the creative industry. So people that do this full-time, commercial, they make a living from it. So it could be designers, marketers, advertisers, crafters, everything to do with, really, I suppose for us, the focus is, and where we kind of get a joy and the passion from, is in-person events. Like that is really exploding. That's why our business is growing so much. People want to gather together. They want to share ideas. They want to have experiences, experiential stuff. Porrick's very, very interested in that. We'd love to kind of take that further. So it's finding people in that creative space or adjacent to that. So it could be tourism, wellness, other things, but it's bringing people together in a creative way. So it's looking for people that we can reach out to and collaborate with.
And because we've a great track record in the Midlands, particularly through things like the Midlands Regional Enterprise Plan. We've got the Advanced Technologies and Manufacturing Cluster. We have the Midlands ICT Cluster. There's even the Ingenuity Cluster that I spoke about on the show last week. And we can begin to see the power of the collective when companies and organisations come together, and really when you get that blend of maybe, ultimately academia, the public, the community, the various businesses too, good things can happen. And we've seen this and heard about this so much on the show that it actually breaks down barriers that companies maybe that once felt were in direct competition actually realise, oh no, we're in the same area, but we do very different services. And actually, if we work together, some of that is what you're hoping to achieve maybe with a cluster like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that came from experiences we had just in the last maybe 6 months. We were trying to diversify. We reached out to people who potentially would have been competitors of ours, and we found they're not competitors. Some of the work that we do literally tags on to the end of where they stop doing what they want to do. So really what we want to do with that creative industry thing is to find who's out there, because that's often the thing. People can be hiding in plain sight. Like we said, we're in Abbey Leaks. People probably didn't know we existed. People probably went to Electric Picnic and stood in a stand we made and never would have known it was us. So a little bit is for us to find out who's out there and where we can find those kind of synergies between us, and really build something, like you said, that collective power of going for bigger things, starting events for creatives or with creatives, really leveraging what we have in the Midlands, which is the fantastic accessibility for the whole country.
Yeah, I just spoke to Kevin Scully there from the Merry Mill about flour going across the water and potentially coming back. There's probably a likelihood that some stuff being done for events around the Midlands is probably leaving the Midlands, maybe being done overseas and being shipped back in. So to put that call out, I guess, where do creatives hang out, and how do you intend to find out who's out there around the Midlands?
So we are going to start with as direct a reach out as we can. Obviously, people can get in touch with us. You mentioned the website, so it's makeandshare.ie, and they can reach out to Porrick. His email address is there. We're on socials as well. We have an Instagram. We are Make and Share. So I would say we are going to target people. So we are doing a little bit of our homework to sort of reach out and sort of do a bit of a feasibility study there. But obviously, we're open to anybody getting in touch. As I said, we don't know who we don't know. There could be somebody just within reaching distance and we don't realise they could be a collaborator. So it's very organic, and it is sort of an ecosystem at the moment. We're not sort of coming out with rules and targets or limits. We want to see who's there and then see what's achievable between us and see if there's people that have this passion.
Absolutely, and if anybody's wondering, there isn't funding put in place for this yet, and Porrick, is keen to stress, this is not being done for the benefit of Make and Share. This is to get that message out there to people, to see who we have across the Midlands, because many people have featured on this show over the last number of years, and they probably fit that brief exactly, and it's just to get that word. So you're going to target people, you're going to get people to throw an expression of interest in, see what's out there and who brings to it as well. I think it has great potential, and it could potentially be the germination of something brilliant. For somebody who's listening going, I'm probably not quite in the sector, who's listening now that you're kind of going, no, you are exactly the person that we need to get in touch, or we want to get in touch with?
Yeah, if there's anything in the creative, I suppose creative design, there's a few words, and the umbrella is sometimes so big that people tend to count themselves out. Particularly creative. A lot of people say, well, I'm not creative, but they might be in digital industries. There might be something they're creating there. It might be a way of connecting people. It might be something else to do with events like AV, like photography, sound, actual creators as well, wellness, tourism, like I said, anything that really brings people together. There is a tremendous amount of creativity that's needed to deliver an event and to bring something together. So there probably is people that don't think they're it, owners of venues, even to kind of spread it out. That's it's like we said, it's going to be a cluster. It's not going to be a place, but events always need a place to take place. So that's a good place to start.
Absolutely. And I mean, the Midlands, we sometimes we don't pat ourselves on the back enough. We have some phenomenal events. EP, even the Ploughing Championships has nearly always been around the Midlands too. We know how to do good events, how to do big events, and getting these people together, it might even prompt longer term discussions on, finance support, maybe even the very infrastructure we need for events. Yeah,
ideally, like I said, it's too big an opportunity to pass up what the Midlands can provide. The accessibility, like I said, if it's something that's international, the amount of people that can get to the Midlands. We saw it with the Grow Remote Summit. It was right in the centre of Portlaoise. It was a couple of minutes walk from a train station. It was so accessible. People were literally flying in from the States, from Europe. They got to the event really, really easily. Then they found it sort of, like you said, one of the other pillars there is community. After the event, people then go out into the community and they take part in tourism things and the local trade and all that kind of stuff. So it's we want to tap into that and say if we can make something, and potentially something experiential, potentially also something for creatives, which is in Make and Share's past, working with Offset, which was a design conference which Porrick used to work on, which hasn't been replaced as such. and really something where you get creatives together, all those people, crafters and makers and designers, and really give them a chance to collaborate.
So Canva and AI haven't killed the creative or design industry yet.
Absolutely.
And likewise, I was just going to say, are virtual conferences pretty much, are they gone? Because I think during COVID we all just like, oh no, not another virtual conference and a virtual trade stand.
Yeah, well thankfully for us, and that's like why we said we've grown, is there has been a snapback from that. People do want to actually get together because there's something a lot more organic. Yes, you can go to the conference and you can hear the keynote speaker, but what happens afterwards? What happens in the corridors? What happens when you're walking out, making connections with people? So really for us, it is that focus on in-person creativity.
And I think, if you speak to anybody that does business overseas, irrespective of the part of the planet they're on, it's still that good old-fashioned face-to-face, and people talk to people and people buy people. So sounds really interesting. Makeandshare.ie is the website. Yes. They can give you a direct message, or you're going to go hunting for creatives around there. We are
indeed. Yeah.
If somebody wants to drop me an email, even business@midlands103.com, I'm more than happy to connect you with Louise and Porrick and the team in Make and Share. And let's see where this can go and where it can lead to. Louise McSharry, thank you so much for that this evening.
Thank you. Thanks.
So there you go. If you are creative, get thinking, get working, get in touch with Make and Share, and let's see where that leads. Time for a quick break. After that, I'm going to go across to Portlaoise and speak to the Managing Director of Alpha Drives.
Taking care of business with thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
From Portlaoise to powering major industrial systems, Alpha Drives has quietly become a key player in Ireland's automation and electrical engineering sector. Managing Director John Dwan joins me now to discuss the company's multi-million euro expansion, its plans to double its workforce, and why the Midlands can be a serious hub for high-value engineering talent. Good evening, John. I suppose to begin, tell us a bit about Alpha Drives and Switchgear.
Hi, Ronan. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me on. So basically, Alpha Drives and Switchgear, we started in Portlaoise over 20 years ago. So we specialise in the design and manufacture of industrial motor control panels, main distribution boards and automation control solutions for manufacturing facilities. So for example, you have a customer who's going to build a new plant or modernise an existing plant. He gets power into the plant from a utility provider like ESB, for example. So that cable will be terminated in a panel that we can build, and then we can say there'll be a process then, so he's going to control food, beverage, chemical, pharmaceutical, whatever. We control that process with another panel, a motor control panel, and then obviously we can write the software in around it. So it's like a turnkey package. So the projects we design and build and commission are engineered systems. Like, again, they can improve production efficiency, they reduce operating costs, improve reliability and performance of the plant across any production type environment.
So you would be brought into the kind of design really at an early stage of the design stage to ensure that the right capacity is there and that future capacity needs can be met too.
That's correct, yeah. So because the customer he'll have a project in mind and he might go and buy the plant off an OEM in Europe or in Ireland here, for example, and they might then come to ourselves for the control of that process. It could be manufacturing anything, but they come to us because our staff have built up significant experience over the years in this business, I should say. And we have really good credibility with our existing customer base, which gives us a significant advantage then just even talking to the customer, exploring options, offering a quote, proper quotation, a detailed quotation. And then, it takes the pressure off the customer, and then we see ourselves as a good partner with the customer as opposed to just another supplier who's basically where we see ourselves fit.
Is it challenging in any way to operate a business like that from Portlaoise, given that you're dependent on international supply chains?
Challenging, yes, but we have really good staff. So if we engage with a customer, we're a reasonably medium-sized company, so we're more flexible than bigger companies. So if a customer needs us at 5 o'clock on a Friday evening, we'll help them out. We don't see that as an issue. Whereas, we know ourselves, bigger companies, multinationals, they don't move as fast, I guess, or they don't see. They might not see the same value in helping a guy out at 5 o'clock on a Friday evening. But I don't know. That's the goodwill we're trying to generate with customers.
Yeah, no, I think that's reflected by a lot of businesses. It's that agility and that ability to be able to respond to a customer's needs, even if it is outside normal hours, or if you're at home trying to flip pancakes and a customer calls, you got to respond to it as well. But You've grown the business very steadily since the early days. Now, what's your current headcount? Because I know you're looking at really taking on more people as well and really expanding that as part of this new development.
Yeah, we're up to 30 at the moment, and we have 10 positions available at the moment, and then once they're filled, then we'll go and fill 10 more. So it's a mix of engineering staff and general operatives. So, we'd like to think it's a nice, clean environment. We have good facilities in the workplace for our staff, and we try to look after them. We do our best to look after them, at least.
Yeah, and it's into an industry that is going to be needed forever because of the exactly the type of stuff that you build and the things that you supply. There's going to be a huge demand on those over the years. Is it difficult to find people around the Midlands, or does the Midlands location actually give you a benefit because you've so many counties bordering you and you have a bigger talent pool then?
Yeah, correct, Ronan. We're lucky in some respects. We are based in the Midlands for that reason. We're not competing with the companies in and around the Dublin region or Cork or Limerick, Galway, these big cities. So we're really lucky that we have a good pool of talent close to us. We need to get in touch with them, and we need to put ourselves out there to let these people know we have vacancies available. Because I drive to work every day, and I hear there's an accident on the motorway somewhere around Dublin, or there's traffic, or in Cork, whatever. Like in Galway the same way. We don't have that issue in the Midlands. For 30-minute drive, it's a nice relaxed drive. You go to work, you're not stressed out, and I think it's a nice quality of life.
Absolutely. Well, you can plan your day. You know that if you leave your house at 7:30, you're probably going to be in work at 8 if you're half an hour away. And as you say, you're reducing the likelihood of being stuck on a motorway for a number of hours. And again, the loss to the business and the loss of talent there and someone just sitting stuck in traffic. Hopefully the commuter survey that's released by Laois County Council might bring back some data that will be of use to yourselves as well. But you've been very much at the forefront of promoting both, I suppose, gender diversity within the workplace. You're a great sponsor of Tipperary Camogie. But you have one employee, I suppose, who's gained a lot of national, international fame lately. A very well-known apprentice that works with you at the minute.
Yeah, look, Caitlin, she's a great ambassador for the next generation of talent coming through. Just put aside Rosa Tralee and Strictly Come Dancing. She's a really, really good ambassador. She holds herself very well. She communicates very well, and she even will at work at the same way. Like, she just conducts herself very professionally. So, she's best of luck to her. She's a bright future ahead of her. Absolutely,
yeah. It kind of comes across in spades anytime you see her or hear of her on the TV. You kind of get that sense of a very grounded person, but a very, very intelligent and articulate person too, and fantastic to have as part of the team. But I suppose when you do look at that wider talent pool, it is putting that call out to female who want to maybe follow an apprenticeship or an engineering role within Alpha Drives. There are ample opportunities there.
Yeah, correct, Ronan. But no different to most other companies, across the country, not just the Midlands. There's an untapped pool of talent coming, going through schools, secondary schools in particular, that these girls are not promoted into apprenticeships, or they're not offered apprenticeships, which is it's a poor reflection on our educational system that these opportunities are not opened up to girls in particular.
Absolutely. You say it's part of that talent pool that maybe is being untapped there, because again, like with the sector you work in, it's almost future proof in terms of what you do, but you're playing a major role at the minute with companies across manufacturing sector in particular in terms of like reducing cost and actually reducing their carbon footprint, all things we're told that the new generation want to know about for the company they're going working for.
Yeah, correct. We have, again, like in our industry, it's constantly evolving, but there's one thing is nearly permanent. It's process improvement, like in variable speed drives, automation, smarter automation, all help improve production. They reduce costs, they reduce energy consumption, which is significant. So we can identify applications in industry, and there could be a payback of maybe up to 1, 2, 3 years, and that's significant, because you could imagine if you invest 100,000 or 50,000 or 10,000 and you've got paid back in 2 years, 3 years, and it's pure, that's 100k on the bottom line from then on, and just reduce costs.
Absolutely essential for any business, and in time all will be mandated to do that exactly. But when it comes to your own business, then looking at things like automation, even artificial intelligence, you spoke a lot there. You still need the people, you still need that good skill set. But do automation and AI, are they a key part of your strategy as you look forward?
Yeah, definitely. Because one thing is a major issue with companies like ourselves is engineers, good quality engineers. And so we're lucky to be a Siemens business partner, and they have really good engineering tools in the background that we can use to reduce engineering time. So if we look at a project, you could, for example, there could be 100 hours of engineering time in that project. But if we can reduce that to 50, it makes us more competitive. And that's the way our industry has moved. It's moved to reduce engineering time. That's the concept. Just keep reducing engineering time. You make actually the design more efficient. It's more accurate. So as a result, then, because we can reduce that chunk of hours out of the engineering cost, it makes us more competitive. So that's the future for us. Keep reducing engineering time. Okay, we need to be more efficient when we build the control systems, and we're constantly trying to improve on the delivery of process, just to make it, again, more efficient, more accurate.
A typical lead time for projects you're working on, is it, do you have kind of a long timeline, or is it often quite reactive and trying to get stuff done quickly and efficiently?
No, 16 weeks, generally for 16 to 18 weeks from drawing improvement. That's where we sit down with the customer, we agree, this is what you're going to get, he signs it off, and then we order the equipment, then we go build it. Generally, look, if the customer's broken down and he's under pressure, he needs a smaller panel built in a hurry, we'll generally try to help them out. Again, generally it's goodwill, and if the next time the customer has an order to place, he might look more favourably on us.
Absolutely, you're back to that agility and that personal touch that is in a smaller business in the sector can offer too. And I suppose this is all part of you've a big expansion underway as well. Are you're extending the premises or building a new one?
Extending.
Yeah. So future is looking bright. Tell us more about that. What prompted that, and what will it be used for?
At the moment, we are very busy at the moment with our existing workload. So we need that just to deliver the projects we have in hand. Or we need some of that space at least. And then for a future expansion, we do very little work in the data center business at the moment, and we see more and more opportunities coming up that we kind of walk away from because we don't have the space or the capacity to deliver those projects. But with the new expansion, it will allow us to take on some of these projects. So it's twofold. Part of the new premises is required for the existing workload, and then obviously to allow us to move into new projects. For example, the data center business has been one.
Absolutely, and one that maybe is set to take off exponentially because of recent changes there in legislation as well. So look, it's a great vote of confidence once again in County Laois, in Portlaoise, and it's certainly a compelling case there for people to get in touch. alphadrives.ie is the website. You can check them out there. As John has said, there's plenty of careers, there's plenty of long-term sustainable careers available there. John, it's been an absolute pleasure. Congrats on everything so far, and looking forward to seeing where the next 20 years take you.
Thanks, Ronan. Thanks for your time.
Not at all. An absolute pleasure. That's John Dwan there, the MD of Alpha Drives in Portlaoise. So there you go. It's so important that all of us throw a spotlight onto the great companies that are doing fantastic things around the Midlands. Like John, I said at the start there, you can have a job in the Midlands in a great company with a steady career path ahead of you, without the commute, without a couple of hours drive. My previous guest, Louise, actually moved down to Abbeyleix during COVID. I finally gave up this notion of the 2-hour commute to Dublin every day to build and help build a business in Abbeyleix as well. It can be done. It's been done all day, every day by some fantastic people. So big shout out to Louise, and thanks again to John there for that. And time for me to take a quick break, because if you are thinking of setting up a company, maybe you want to expand a company that you have and you're not sure what supports are out there, well, this could be your week, because National Enterprise Week 2026 was launched today. It'll take place in early March. I'll give you all you need to know about Laois, Offaly and Westmeath local enterprise offices after this.
Taking care of business with thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Today, Local Enterprise Week 2026 was officially launched. It'll take place from Monday the 2nd to Friday the 6th of March, but as you probably know, there's loads of events and seminars and workshops that take place throughout that week. It's a great chance to learn from some great keynote speakers, people who have walked that walk. So if you're thinking of starting a business, scaling and exporting, exploring green opportunities, building your leadership capability, or simply looking to connect with other businesses in the region, there is definitely something on for you in Laois, Offaly and Westmeath over the course of that week. If we go across and have a look at what's taken place in Laois, they have some big names coming down too. RTE's Owen McGee will be down to speak about an event, How to Be Good with Money, on Wednesday the 4th of March in the Midlands Park Hotel in Portlaoise. Jerry Duffy, motivational speaker and author in high performance, will be around as well to talk about the 5 business resources every leader should use but most never do. That's taking place on the 3rd of March at 6 p.m. in the Abbey Leaks Manor Hotel. They'll also have keynotes from Derval O'Rourke as well, the famous athlete. They'll have a Laois Women in Business meet-up and lunch taking place in the Collection Hotel on Friday the 6th of March to celebrate International Women's Day. All the events will need to be registered for, so go on to www.localenterprise.ie/be it Laois, Offaly or Westmeath. And again, that's just a snippet of what's happening in Laois. Loads of workshops and specialist mentoring opportunities available too. To find out what's happening in Westmeath, let's hear from Katrina Duffy from Local Enterprise Office, Westmeath.
Hi, Katrina here from the Local Enterprise Office in Westmeath. Our Local Enterprise Week takes place between the 2nd and the 6th of March, with lots of exciting ways for small business owners to get involved. We have a combination of in-person and online training, costing and pricing a product or service, finance for small business, how to investigate your business idea, time management, how to use digital marketing, and lots more. An example of our information sessions, we have how to kickstart your social enterprise, consumer protection, what you need to know, and info sessions on local enterprise office supports. Our one-to-one clinics on business advice are also available, and one-to-one clinics on work smarter, not harder, and introduction to lean. We also have in-person events. We have our student enterprise programme county finals on the Tuesday in Tooth. On the Wednesday, we have our county enterprise awards in the Bloomfield House Hotel, and on Friday we have our Women in Business networking event in the Castlebarrow Hotel in Castle Pollard. It's a tri-county event with Leo Leitrim, Leo Longford and Leo Westmeath. We have a panel of 5 lined up to give you lots of good information on the day. If you would like to get involved in any way or find out more about any of our events, you'll find information on our website, localenterprise.ie/Westmeath, or contact one of the team here in the office on 044 93 38945. Hoping to see you at an upcoming event.
Like I always say, there's no excuse anymore. If you are thinking of starting a business or scaling or exporting or developing your business in some capacity, there will be an event on that should be of use to you. If you look across at Offaly's schedule, then some of the titles, some of the events and workshops coming up: Start Your Own Business course evenings, Instagram reels and stories. We're looking at things like Building Resilient Business with Suzanne Hayes Culleton. There's lots of stuff happening. There's individual mentoring sessions and opportunities to maybe meet other business owners and other mentors who could just be that game changer for your business. So localenterprise.ie/the county you're in, and hopefully you can connect yourself and find yourself the particular course or event you want, because we can never downplay the role that organisations like the LEOs play. At the start of the show, Kevin Scully from the Merry Mill, when I asked about specific funding towards developing a business like his, that really and truly, as he said, is part of food security within the country. He paid great tribute to Laois Local Enterprise Office, but there's no further supports available in terms of maybe the food security side of you, but he paid testament to the work that the Leos do, and so many businesses the same with Make and Share that we just spoke to there too, and it is the starting point for so many great companies, many of whom you've met on this show and many who you'll continue to meet over the next couple of years anyway. But enough from me. Time for you to go and book your place in that course. If you are in the creative sector in any capacity, check out makeandshare.ie or give me an email, business@midlands103. They're looking to connect too. Anyway, time for me to go. Joe Cooney's here next with Country Roads. I'll talk to you all next week.